Dixie Chixie was right. Early spring. So far, so good. You know, we've had a few mildly cold days. This is Dan with Sunny Slope Funny Farm on Fowl Play on the Sunny Slope Funny Farm. Easy for me to say. Welcome back. Those of you who listened to my last video, thank you for listening to the rant. I just spoke from my heart. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but there are certain facts that I've come to learn in this world. Facts are facts, folks. Okay, it's just, that's the bottom line. Well, welcome back, as I said. So I'm out in the farmyard. I had dialysis today. I was going to show you there's still a little betadine on my arm, but there's my graft site right there, which looks intensely better. There's a lot of the bruising is better, and the reason why I think so much better, a number of weeks ago I had a balloon procedure, just like they do with your heart and your arteries and your veins, arteries I guess, and they go in and put a balloon in, try to open things up. Well, they did the same thing with my graft, and it seems to be successful. So far it is, the techs and nurses have been able to access the graft with the needle pretty reasonably so, without a lot of trauma and a lot of what we call infiltration. So I haven't had a lot of bruises. So I'm sad to say too that over the course of the last weeks, and we haven't shared it with you just because truly we were sidetracked and busy. I'm gonna walk over here just for a second, so follow along with me if you would. Wind's out of the north now, so we have a little bit of like a dry cold front coming in, but I think it was close to 80 today. And there's guinea duck. There's Scrappy. There's guinea duck. The shadow's not doing so well, but there she is, hanging out with her ducks. It looks like George made it over here too. So sadly, we have to say, and we didn't really mention it, but we lost Spiderman, and we also lost Stella. Stella was 3, maybe 4 years old, so I think she was just old age. I found her down, and she wasn't doing well, and I tried to give her some calories and nutrition and a little bit of, and she died in my arms. So I'm thankful to say that Stella at least died in my arms. And you can see our memory tree is filling up from some of the ones we've loved so much in the past. But Spider-Man, Mrs. Fowl Play went out to the coop. I'd just been to dialysis, I think, and she came in and said Spider-Man was gone. And we don't know why. We just don't know what happened. If he just didn't tolerate being in the main coop, because we moved all the birds in the main coop from the Motel 6, Spider-Man and his girls. And we moved them in there because the temps were going to be, below 0 Fahrenheit, and we just thought they would all be better off. And Mrs. Fowl Play found him down there. She took a photo of him lying on the ground, and remarkably, just when I think I've learned about animals, the things they do are really extraordinary sometimes. They're just absolutely fascinating. And all of his hens, the hens that were his flock from the Motel 6.5, were surrounding him. We were surrounding him as he lay on the ground. And one of the hens, Mrs. Fowl Play said, was trying to poke him and see if he would revive. And how extraordinary is that they were just kind of a vigil at his side. So right now we're doing some de-winterization. We're starting to open things up just a little bit, because I don't necessarily trust the weather, although I trust Dix to say that we've had an early spring. There's no doubt about that. At least, so I'm already weeding. Okay, so let's call it an early spring, okay? So we're still buttoned up on the south side here. I haven't opened that up, but I did open the east side. So that is now open back up on this side. These windows are now open back up with a little bit of barrier left up there just at the top side in case it rains real heavy. And a lot of the girls roost up there in that ledge on the inside there. So, and I opened it up on the east side too. We just walked over there, Dan. So we opened this window too, and it's starting to get just a little more air in, and we think that's appropriate. So we'll be opening things up more as, and of course the north side will stay buttoned up until it's just truly, if the wind's out of the north right now, that's what you hear in the video. And so I need to hit back to the south side over there, but this will stay buttoned up for a while yet. And in years past, I haven't even buttoned up that south side, but this year, again, was so extraordinary, and we had younger birds and that we needed to put out here, and we wanted to keep them safe and warm and make sure they were protected. Our egg production is way up, let me tell you. And our duck girls are laying really good too. They're giving us some really beautiful eggs. We're super happy about that. And I've been able to, as far as dialysis goes, I had a little stint where I was struggling again with nausea, which I just do anyway. I mean, I have my whole life. I have celiac disease. I have to eat strict gluten-free. And I think just some residual things in my life just cause me to have it doesn't take much for me to get nauseous, okay? There's some smells. I know that sounds crazy, but there's just certain things that trigger some nausea. And I don't think it's necessarily related to dialysis necessarily. Everybody wants to say it's related to this or that, and I'm like, no, guys. So I had a little stint with that, but I feel a lot better now, and the arthritis is significantly controlled. It is absolutely remarkable. And I noticed something yesterday. I was using the oscillating saw, aka we call it the Dremel. It's like buying a Coke, right? A Sprite can be a Coke. You say, we're gonna buy a Coke or something, you know, it means Pepsi, Sprite, Mountain Dew, doesn't matter. And there's Peekaboo. There's always Peekaboo. Yes. So I nailed my leg right there with the oscillating saw, and what was concerning is after I did it, it didn't bleed, but it just like oozed fluid, like a pus kind of purulent kind of fluid, or what we call it in the medical field. And I thought, I am still full of fluid. Even though the dialysis takes most of the fluid off, I still have, and I mentioned it to him today, that I still have this excess fluid on board. Even though the major swelling is completely resolved. But it shocked me a little bit to see that coming out of me. Almost like some horror flick or something. I'm like, that doesn't look right. Here's Clem, she wants back up. We were just snuggling with Clemmy and Handy Panny. We spent a lot of time together just a few minutes ago. But when I sit down, Clem is there. All right, big girl. Anything you want to say to anybody? Anything you want to say? No? You're just going to sit here with Dad? All right. So really, I don't have a lot to say right now, I guess. Thank you for following along, and you know, we hope that you guys are taking care of each other. That's... Oh, Clemmy's back. Okay. Sorry about the shaking camera here. Take care of each other, would you? Because you just never know, what the future is. You just don't. I mean, we all have an expiration date. I said that is a given. Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, right? And what happened to Lazarus again? Well, he died. He didn't live forever. He was raised from the dead. He raised a little girl from the dead, and she eventually died. So we all die. And boy, I want to be on the right side of eternity. And so take care of each other with that, okay? Follow Jesus. And even if it's not your belief, then, you know, still be good to each other. It's still the right thing to do, okay? What, Boo? What are you doing? I got a bunch of dinging in my ear. I don't understand what that is. So take care of each other. We love you. We'll see you next time. I can't believe I forgot to talk about these little bits. So last Saturday at Dialysis, some of our kids and grandkids were here to help us with farm projects. So they were texting me as to, hey Dad, you know, what do you have for us to do? And they just come out and they're happy to do it. And so I made a list. I said, one thing can you do? Can you go to the farm store and bring feed home? That would just save me some heavy lifting, and I would have to do it on Sunday, and it's church day, and I play the drums, and a lot of times I do stop and have to bring feed home on the way home from church, and it would just save me, and it was just great to, you know, send the young people with younger backs and joints to do some heavy lifting, right? And Mrs. Fowl kept saying they're bringing chicks home. I thought, you're just kidding around. You are just trying to hyperextend my appendage right here. I mean, in other words, you're pulling my leg, right? Hyperextending your appendages. So I figured she's joking around. We talked about it. We didn't really want to do chicks just because of sometimes the way I feel. And my wife is really trying to take care of her sister's estate. It's taking up just so much of my wife's extra time right now. Meeting with the attorney and trying to get her to be the executor. It just takes a lot of work, and it's just so much. And we can talk about it another day. And there's so many things that we did wrong, actually. So they brought these babies home, and wouldn't you know, they're supposed to all be pullets, but it looks like we have a little Roo in the bunch. That guy right there is a little Roo. We'll have to see. We've been handling him a lot, so we'll see if he's friendly or not as he gets bigger, and see how he. So that'll be the determination of whether it goes to freezer camp or not. So yes, we have a little Roo in the mix, even though it's supposed to be girl run. So we have these babies. We're happy to have them. Now go.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Woo!
Ah! It's like a chair.
I'll do it again. Come on. Make it big. I'll make it big again. No, gotta make it big again. Make it big again. Here, make it big. Come here.
Chicken's found something.
Come here, again. You ready? Ready? 1.
Lounge chair.